Hello everyone, welcome back to the lecture series of project management. Today we will start the fourth unit of project management, that is project scheduling. In this lecture, we will see what is actually meaning of project scheduling in a project management. Till now, we have seen different terms regarding the project management, how the project management is done by using number of people they work togetherly, and how they are managing the particular project and how they are making the project feasible, how they are performing different operations by using different steps, and how they are getting exactly feasible output, or they are making that particular project a successful project. That we have seen till this third unit. In this unit, we will see the project scheduling. Now let us see what is actually the meaning of project scheduling. Project scheduling in project management is the listing of activities, deliverables and milestones within a project. Okay, number of activities that we have to list, deliverables and milestones that comes for the different steps, activities that we are doing for the different steps, and deliverables means whatever the outcomes we are getting for different step. Listing all these things comes under the scheduling of a project. A schedule also usually includes a planned start and finish date, duration, and resources they are assigned to each and every activity. The effective project scheduling is a critical component of successful time management. Okay, for example, let us see when the people they discuss the process of building a schedule, they are usually referring to the different six steps of the time management here for the purpose of scheduling. First, they consider plan, schedule management. They define the project activities in second. They sequence the activities, estimating the resources, estimate duration also, and developing the project schedule. These are the six steps of or six processes of the time management in a project scheduling. Okay, how to do scheduling in project management, that we will see now. There are some of the main types of scheduling, that is master project schedule, milestone schedule or summary schedule, a detailed project schedule. Where master project schedule tends to a simplified list of tasks with a timeline or project calendar. Okay, number of tasks as per the project calendar or timeline, they are scheduled by using this particular master project schedule. Milestone schedule or summary schedule, in this type we do or we schedule the tracks major milestones and key deliverables, but not every task is required to complete the project. Okay, a detailed project schedule, in that the most through project schedule, as it defines and track every project activity. If you have a complex, larger or lengthy project, it's important to have a detailed project schedule to help the track everything. Because if a project is complex, very large, so that we can track the details of the project to each and every step, so that in a detailed project schedule we are getting the project schedule as per the each and every step, means it is divided into number of steps. Each and every step, regarding each and every step, we are considering the time span given for that, time limit given, time management we are considering for that particular step, different resources, input resources, whatever the resources we have to consider, that different resources also we are considering here. Again, what are the outcomes, what are the deliverables we are getting from the project, that everything comes under a detailed project schedule. In this way, we are having the three types of schedules: master project schedule, milestone schedule, that is called as summary schedule, and detailed project schedule. Where a detailed project schedule is having very important it is a most important point, because we are getting everything in detail, so that there are less chances of problems arising or conflicts arising in that particular project. We can use a Gantt chart, that is most common form of project schedule, that is a Gantt chart. Both the milestone schedule and the detailed project schedule, they can be created as a Gantt chart. When choosing a schedule software, there are different software that we can use for the scheduling also. If you have to create a detailed schedule with milestone as a Gantt chart, make sure that it can be summarized up to that level of simpler view that can be easily shared with your team or stakeholders. This particular thing will give you the ability to present the same schedule in different formats depending on the level of details required and the target that is given by the audience. This is what is the meaning of project schedule, why project schedule is necessary. Now let us see what are the different benefits of the project scheduling in a project management. Okay, the benefits are assist with tracking, reporting and communicating the progress, ensures everyone is on the same page with task dependencies and deadlines. Okay, by this particular project scheduling we can ensure that number of people they are working together, they are working at the same step, they are working at the same page, they are which are interdependent on each other. Okay, they are following the deadlines given for them. Everything can be considered, everything can be seen by using the project scheduling. Highlights issue and concerns such as a lack of resources. These things can be highlighted or can be concerned by using the project schedule. If there is a lack of resources, it can be highlighted at that particular step, not at the starting of the project or at the planning of the project. At this scheduling we can consider at particular step we are having different lack of resources that can be highlighted and that can be solved. Identifies task relationships also and monitors the progress and identify issues early. This is what are the benefits of the project scheduling in project management. Now, while considering a project solid project schedule or a project schedule, how many things or what are the different things or different tips we have to consider, we have to keep it in our mind for the purpose of making that project schedule. First thing we have to consider that get input from the stakeholders. Don't create your schedule in isolation. It's important to use your team and other stakeholders to identify different tasks, resources, dependencies, and durations. So that getting this all the inputs from the stakeholders, you will be able to follow all the things that are in the requirement list of the stakeholders. Next thing we have to consider is reference different past projects. Looking at previous project with similar scope and requirement, one can help create realistic estimates and ensure you haven't forgotten any task. Okay, that is how we have to consider that past project. We have to take the reference from that past project and we have to learn number of things from that past project. Number 3 we have to consider is keep risk in mind. Identify and document any factors that pose a risk to staying on schedule. This particular thing will help you for the risk management efforts also. Okay, all the risk we have to keep in mind, and by considering that risk we will be able to manage the risk if we follow all the rules regarding the risk. Next thing we have to consider is any non-work time also we have to consider. For example, make sure the vacations and holidays are reflected in your schedule so that you are not assuming that people will be working when they are not. This is how non-working time or by considering the holidays you will be able to find the exact time that is given for the holidays and you can focus on the time next to the holidays for the purpose of working on the project. Again, we have to consider or we have to define the critical path on that project. Identifying the project's critical path will allow you to prioritize and allocate the resources to the most important task in the project. This is how defining the critical path will help in scheduling the project. Next thing we have to keep in mind that record the scheduling assumptions means writing down the logic behind that particular schedule predictions. For example, if you assume it will be only you will take only 10 hours to complete a task because you have a senior engineer, then if you end up with a junior engineer you can understand and explain why it took twice as long as planned. That is how you can find out by recording the scheduling assumptions also, and you will be able to find out the exact time that was needed for that particular task. Next thing you have to consider is including the project milestones. The project milestones, they are events or markets that stand for an important point in your project. They are very useful for creating a summary schedule, reporting to executives and identifying the problems early. This is how will help you for the purpose of making a project feasible or for the purpose of making scheduling that project. That's why you have to include the project milestones also. Okay, getting all the things. What are the things or what are the major things that we have to consider while making or while scheduling a project? Now, as we have seen now, we can make the calendars for the project management or for the purpose of scheduling. There are different ways for the for the purpose of making a project manager calendar. How we can make the project manager calendar? Okay, what are the project calendars? The project calendars, they are instrumental in planning the next month, quarter and a year. Okay, you can plan whole month, 15 days, whole month, or you can plan the quarter of the year or a complete year also you can plan. Building a project management calendar can be time consuming and some deadlines shift before you finish. Okay, this is what the points can be considered in project management calendar. While project planning, we can make it with the Excel sheet also. Excel is a default project planning tool because it's familiar to many people. Okay, number of people can understand Excel. Forgetting calendars in Excel is easy because it is native table view. Okay, in Excel we can simply see the table view and we can see what the particular task we have to do on which date and which day, on which month. This is how Excel has built, or Excel has a pre-built project calendar template, so you can save time creating one from scratch and can easily jump into the planning. The good news here is that if you use an Excel spreadsheet to plan your project calendar, your team members probably already know how to open and edit these particular documents. However, using a particular Excel spreadsheet as your project management calendar means everyone must view and edit the spreadsheet files. If multiple people they are editing the calendar, they need to separately upload their latest versions and eventually consolidate all these versions into one. Upkeep can be time consuming, all these things, and they can be costly. While adding a finalized calendar or creating a work schedule in an Excel, that is easy. Collaborating around a shared project manager calendar, that is difficult. Task management within the Excel is also very challenging. Spreadsheets are a breeding ground for the different information and security breaches because there's simply no way to know who has accessed it and what changes have been made by the particular person, because it automatically saves, it does not tell us we have made the different changes. Next thing you can consider for the project planning is that is by using Google Calendar. You can simply use a Google Calendar. An online calendar like Google Calendar is a good solution for team. Okay, that the teams that want to collaborate on project planning in a real time. Wondering here how to use a Google Calendar for the project management? You can simply go to Google, you can use the Google Calendar and you can simply put the notes for the different, or you can assign the project or different things or different steps for that dates in the Google Calendar. But Google Calendar is super flexible. It allows you to create multiple calendars and view them simultaneously or one at a time also. You can organize the calendars in two ways. By assigning means create a spreadsheet, or create a separate calendar, not spreadsheet here, we are taking a Google Calendar. Create a separate calendar for each team member and put them or put their the task deadlines on their personal calendar. Okay, team managers they can look at each members or multiple team members workloads to see which deadlines are approaching. Next thing you can do is by project also create a separate calendar for each major team project and enter the task due dates and project milestones there. Compare the project timelines to see if any work should be moved around to accommodate high priority tasks or heavy workloads. This is how you can have a Google Calendar. The next type you can have is project planning with Wrike Calendar, WRIKE. In last unit we have seen the Wrike software. Here the right calendar is also available. You're looking for a way to collaborative plan projects and connect the launching dates to underline different work. Right calendar is a best way to give the underline to different works. Right calendar provides a high level view of scheduled tasks by day, week, month, and for the year also. Schedule tasks that can contain all related information, files, and conversation. So it's very easy to jump from a calendar right into work, drag and drop the task on the calendar to change due dates, and allow all the dependent tasks will follow the suit. Here in this right calendar, having a shareable task and time management calendar, it will allow you to view the project plans for not only your own teams but for the other teams also, whether it's planning blog post to correspond with a particular product launch or scheduling purpose. Okay, these are the three types of calendars you can have for the purpose of scheduling a project or making the time limits, giving time limits, or making the different planning for the project. You can use these three types of calendar. You can ultimately choose any one of this. You can check any one calendar. You can check all the calendars simultaneously, and you can see what is the best calendar that is suits to your project, and you can use that calendar for the purpose of project scheduling. Okay, now we have seen the 6 steps for the purpose of making the project management basics, or we have seen the steps for the project planning or project scheduling. 6 steps. Now we will see in detail that 6 steps. It means that, for example, why these steps are important for the purpose of project scheduling or project planning, that we will see now. If consider it's Monday morning, your executive will call you into a meeting to go over some key initiative they hope to achieve this quarter. Okay, you're tasked with pulling together a handy dandy project plan for your team or executive on this initiative. They want it by the end of the week, but where to begin? Here, you should not be panic. You don't need to know all the project management basic to execute a successful project plan. You have to simply follow the 6 steps, how to create a project management plan, and you will be able to have a good project management plan. The first step was identify and meet the stakeholders. Here, a stakeholder is anyone who is affected by the results of your project plan. Okay, that includes your customers and end users. They make sure you identify all the stakeholders and keep their interest in mind when creating your project plan. Meeting with the project sponsors and the key stakeholders to discuss their needs and project expectations and establish a scope baseline, budget, and timeline. Then create a scope statement document to finalize the record project scope details. For getting everyone on the same page and reducing the chances of costly communication, you have a scope statement template that get you started. Cost control in particular, it is a critical during this stage of the process, where here you have to look beyond the stakeholders stated needs to identify the underlying desired benefits. For the purpose, these benefits are the objectives of your project that should deliver. That is the main aim of the project. What you have to deliver as a project, that is nothing but given by the stakeholders, ideas given by the stakeholders. Next step you have to follow is setting a prioritized goal. In the first step, you have meet to the stakeholders, different sponsors, and you have get exactly idea about the project. In that, you will have a clear idea about that thing, what you have to plan. In the second step, you have to set and prioritize the different goals. Once you know what is the idea of the project, you have to prioritize the different goals. There are different goals in a particular project. Okay, here once you have a list of stakeholders needs, prioritize them and set the specific project goals. Okay, this should outline the project objectives or the matrices or the matrix and benefits you hope to achieve. Okay, write your goals and the stakeholders needs they address in your project plan, so it's clearly communicated and easily shareable. Here, by the communication with the stakeholders, you will get the idea, you will get the deliverables they need, you will get the exactly requirement of the stakeholders, so you can prioritize that things here, and you can have a second step also. Next step you have to consider is define the deliverables. Here, identify and deliverables and the project planning steps they will require to meet the project goals. What are the specific outputs that you are expanding to produce? Next, estimate due dates for each deliverables in your project plan. You can finalize all these dates when you sit down and you define your project schedule in the next step, so that you will find what are the deliverables, what is the project plan, what are the different resources that we are taking, what are the outputs that we are doing, what are the different steps we are dividing the project into. Everything will be done in defining the deliverables. Okay, setting the firm milestone for essential deadlines and deliverables. You will be able to track your progress once work begins to ensure your complete task on time and keep the stakeholders happy. In this third step you can do all these things. In the fourth step you can create a project schedule. Okay, look at each and every deliverable and define the series of tasks that must be completed to accomplish each one. For each task, determine the amount of time it will take, the resources they are necessary, and who will be responsible for the execution of all that resources. Next, you have to identify any dependencies. Do you need to complete certain tasks before other they can begin? Input the deliverables, dependencies, and milestones into Gantt chart, or choose from the many outline templates and different apps available there. You have to be sure here that you also understand how to write a project management report for summary overview of the current status of the project, by which you can create a project schedule by considering all these things, by considering the Gantt chart or choosing different online templates, what are the different apps available. You can take number of inputs here and you can create a project schedule in this step. Here in this step you can involve your team in the planning process also. The people they are performing the work, they have important insights into how to task, how that task is getting done. Okay, how long they will take that particular task, and who's the best person to tackle them, or who's the best person skilled person that particular person can work on that task. Okay, this is how by involving the team members into the planning you will be having a proper project planning report here. The next step you have to consider is identifying different issues and complete a risk of assessment. Okay, no project is a risk free. Any project, in every project there are number of risks. Okay, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best inside doing you any favors. It means that are there any issues up front that will affect the project planning process, like key team members, upcoming vacations. Okay, what unforeseen circumstances that could create different things. When developing a project plan, you should know how to manage the different risk in a project, and you have to consider the steps you should take to either prevent certain risks for happening or limit their negative impact. Conducting a risk assessment and developing a risk management strategy to make sure that you are prepared for that. This is how you can have risk assessment here. You can identify the different risk and you can overcome the risk here. The next step you have to consider is present the project plan to the stakeholders. In first step you have meet the stakeholders. Okay, in this last step you also have to present the project plan or scheduling you have done to the stakeholders. Okay, it's very important you to understand that how to present a project effectively. Explain how your plan addresses the stakeholders expectations and present your solutions to any conflict. Make sure that your presentation isn't one sided. Have an open discussion with the stakeholders instead of making only your presentation. You can take an different points from them. What are positive points and negative points of your project planning? Next, you need to determine the different roles. Who needs to see which report and how often, which decisions will be needed to be approved and by whom. All these things, decisions, you have to be define the roles for these decisions. Making your project plan clear and accessible to all the stakeholders. You can have the stakeholders will don't have to chase you down for simple updates also. Housing all the project plan data in a single location like a different collaboration tools make it very easy to track a progress here, share the updates and make edits without filling your calendar with the meetings, so that stakeholder will impressed by all these things and they will have a positive approach towards you for the purpose of getting the output of the project. Communicating clearly, it will make sure stakeholders know exactly what's the expected from them, okay, and what actions they need to take. Just because it's obvious that to obvious for you to, it doesn't mean it's obvious for them. So, not looking forward to having an open discussion with your stakeholders. Here, some of the things you have to consider. If you are not making a open discussion with the stakeholders, you will not be able to consider their point of view, and you won't be able to work on that point on that particular points. That's why you have to have a good communication, open communication with them. Present your report or present your planning there. Present or discuss all the things related to the project planning, things related to the different teams they are working on, which task, what task to be completed by what duration, and everything. What are the different resources, input resources they have to take for the project? Everything you can discuss here or you can present here to the people or to the stakeholders for the purpose of understanding the project planning in a proper way. We have seen till now project plan, but what is actually a project plan? A project plan is a document often that is presented as a Gantt chart that shows each step to take a project from A to B. Okay, it serves as a roadmap that shows the project phases, key activities and their start and end dates, also dependencies between the different tasks and project milestones. The project plan that can be as simple as a scribble on the back of the napkin or a few lines in an Excel, but it's usually presented as a Gantt chart made in Microsoft Project or similar alternative planning tool also. What are the things that you have to include in a project plan? In the project plan, that typically includes phases of the project. Okay, I mean how many phases you have divided the project, activities or tasks in each and every phase, task that starts and ends dates, to which date it will, that is how the deadlines of the different tasks, that should also be included in the project planning. Interdependencies between the different tasks. Okay, what are the interdependencies, so that after completing the particular task you can perform the interdependent task after the completion of first task, and different milestones. Now let us see what actually the project plan will do. The project plan here will clarify the processes and the activities that will lead to a project outputs and different deliverables. Project plan will give you an information that enables you to estimate the properly and define a project's output and project scope also. The project plan will enable you to visualize the entire project and see the interdependencies between the different tasks. The project planning will help you to show who does what task, when, and forecast your resources requirements. It will provide you the milestones for tracking the project progress also, and different dates for the client approvals. Project planning will enable you to baseline and track your project progress properly. It will enable to agreement of different all important live data. This is how project plan is having how so much important role in project scheduling. before making any project plan, you have to consider number of questions here: why, what, when, how, and who. By considering these questions, you will be able to find a good project plan. Means, by considering a question first: why, the project strategy goals, why the project strategy goals, which strategy we are applying for the project, why that particular strategy we are applying. In that way we can answer this question and we can have a good project plan for that particular thing. Next is what, the activities or the processes, outputs and deliverables. So what are the different activities that we will be conducting, what are the outputs we will get for each and every activity or step, and what are the deliverables for that particular step. After considering the questions when, question when, that is the deadlines and dependencies. Under this we will find out the different deadlines and different dependencies for the resources of the project and output of the project also. Next question we can consider is how, the process or the methodology. Means, how to conduct different processes, which methodology to use for the purpose of getting a feasible output. Next question here is who, the client and their team stakeholders. We can consider who will be involved in the particular project planning, whom to give the different reports, time to time reports. Everything will be considered under this question. This is how you can have a good project planning and you will be having a good scheduling of the project. Thank you.